be Miss Fitri Wahyuni. That's the head of the program. Okay. Without further ado, okay, please allow me to share my screen. I hope it's fine. How to share the screen? Okay, let me try. Because usually we use Microsoft Teams. It's very rare for us to use Zoom. Okay. I try to use another way. Okay, wait. Okay, can you see my slide? Okay, now can you see my slide?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. All right. I think it's not the full view, full view, isn't it? Is it full view?
Yes, it's full.
It's full, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because I just shared part of the screen because I cannot share the file. So I share my screen only. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. InsyaAllah. Okay, I cannot see your name basically. Okay. Um, okay, we have quite a number of students here. How many participants altogether? What's the name of the MC just now? Nadia, is it?
Yes.
Dipa,
Dipa.
Dipa Nadia. How many participants do we have this morning?
It's 20 participants.
20 participants.
Yes,
So
Prof.
I need to know the background of the student. Are they undergraduate program students or master students in accounting?
Mostly it's bachelor degree.
Oh, bachelor's degree, eh? Okay, this is undergraduate students, so inshallah. Okay, I think I better start now. Okay. The lecture today, basically on the public sector accounting. Okay, this is my presentation outline. Okay, the first thing I will cover on the concepts of public sector. What is public sector and what is public administration? Okay, number two, I will give a lecture on the differences between public sector and private sector. What makes public sector different from private sector? And the third part is on the governance, the importance of governance, and also structure of government. Okay, and the last part, I will end my discussion, my lecture today, this morning, inshallah, in today's Sayyidil Ayam, okay, on this Friday Jemaah Barakah on public sector accounting and the administration of public sector accounting, the process of public sector funding, roles of public accountants. Okay, so for the start, talking about the concepts of public sector and public administration. Okay, what is public sector? Okay, what is public sector? It's disturbing me just for a moment. Okay, the public sector is a form of governmental setups which aim is to direct, control, and manage. So there are three keywords here for you to remember and to understand. If people mention about public sector, just bear in your mind it is about the governmental setup. Okay, and then why we need to have this government? Why we need to have the government? Because the government will direct, control, and manage the countries. Three keywords. The words here are three keywords. It consists of direct, control, and manage the country's activities by providing basic public goods and services. So that's the function of government. That's why very important to identify who will be our government. And in fact, in the government, we have several political parties. We have the governing party, and also we have the opposition party. The government party is basically the party who which govern the country, and the other way around, the opposition party usually this sort of monitoring the governing party. The governing party. The party is very important, because that will identify the success of the country. And sometimes I still remember some students, because I'm teaching public sector accounting in here, Faculty of Economics and Muamalat USIM, University of Science Islam Malaysia. Sometimes the student, there was a time the student asked me, why do we need to have two different parties? I mean, we have the governing party, parti pemerintah, and the other one is opposition party, parti pembangkang. I hope you don't mind. I think it's very useful sometimes for me to use a Malay term, or I think you can understand. Nadia, can you understand if I mention pemerintah, parti pemerintah?
Yes.
Pemerintah, yeah. And the other one is the opposition party. So the governing party, those the one which govern the country. Yeah. Why the student asked me why we need to have the opposition party, because opposition party will oversee if any dissatisfaction, they will raise their concerns. If they do not satisfied with the leadership, then this is whereby the opposition party will highlight and basically for improvement, for betterment of the citizen. So you must remember that it is important to have the opposition party as well, because otherwise the governing party can do anything that they want without anybody overseeing their activities. I hope you can understand that. Yeah. This is, for example, like this. In the university, we have the regulation, isn't it? So that regulation will actually guide the students. We are talking about the regulation. The same thing, if we don't have the opposition party, then who will control the governing party? Yeah. Control, or in a way to give some insights for improvement, to give some opinions for the improvement. And when we mention about public sector, so this is not the kind of profit-oriented organization. Instead, public sector, their roles and the basic rules is to provide the public goods and services. All right, next, on the public administration. So we have the government. Now we are talking about the administration part. It is a process by which the government makes decision. Okay, number one, the government makes decisions. And number two, it is a process whereby it implement those decisions known as the public administration. So there are two keywords here. First, making decision. Number two, implementing those decisions that have been decided. That's what we call public administration. Okay, public administration. And the main purpose of public administration is to plan, to organize, okay, merancang, organize, okay, to direct, give the instruction, okay, to coordinate, and also control government operations. So this what we call management. So I believe you are an accounting student, you must get familiarized, or even in your courses, you should take all the 5 main functional management. So in which all accounting students usually they take management subject, isn't it? Organizational behavior, accounting, and even accounting, you have the financial accounting, you have the management accounting, and even you have the marketing papers, you have what else? The strategic management. So all those five functional management basically is very useful in the public administration as well. Yeah, not only in the private or in the company's administration, but also in the public administration. Okay, this is achieved via the establishment and enforcement of its policies and programs. So that's why we in a country we have the regulation. So the government cannot do anything what they want because they are also subjected to the state regulation, to the countries or to the national regulation. So that's why we have the policies. So the policies, we must uphold the policies. Like us as Muslim, we have all the Islamic pillars, for example. So all the teachings, we should follow all the commandment in Islam, according to the Islamic teaching. All right, that's what we call the policy. So we can administer our government, our country, by enforcing. First, we establish and we make the regulation, and the next one is we have to enforce whatever regulation that have been set up. Okay, next, what determines the administration of the government? So in Malaysia, for example, okay, sorry, I give you the example of Malaysia, yeah, because I'm from Malaysia, but usually I still remember last time there was quite number of students. I think two students from UMY, they came to this faculty. I can still remember one of the students named Yaya. I can't remember her full name, but I call her Yaya. She still contacted me. Alhamdulillah, until now, we have been contacting each other. We have been contacting each other, and I heard recently. I'm very happy because she just finished her master's program from UK. From UK, I'm very happy. I'm glad. Hearing from her. I still get in touch with my beloved student from UMI. I think at that time she studied undergraduate programs in UMY. She completed her bachelor degree, and she was selected as the sponsored student to pursue her master's program in the UK. Yeah, I know him. I know her. Sorry, I know her because of this student exchange program, and he attended my class for public sector accounting. Usually when I give my lecture on a Malaysian regulation on public sector, I will ask, what about Indonesia? She's a very nice guy, one very nice girl. So I'm happy to know all of the students over the world. Okay, in Malaysia, the country, for example, so specific to the lecture, sorry, I just want to give you some sharing that hopefully will motivate you to grab the opportunity, of this student exchange program. Yeah. And okay, I think this is a very interesting news as well. Okay, one of the students, when they came here for the exchange program as well, I think from Malang, you know where is Malang, yeah? Malang, in Surabaya, I guess, yeah. The student from Malaysia is the girl student, the Muslimah, the sister, and then the one who who came here, the boy. I heard they will get married next week. Next week. Jodoh, jodoh in USIM. Okay, Alhamdulillah. A part of the jihad of knowledge. Also part of the munakabat as well. Okay, this is only the sajalah, saja, so that you will not sleep. I hope you are not sleeping there. Okay, go back to my lecture. In Malaysia, the country is governed under the federal constitution, and we have our name of the regulation for the nation is federal, what we call federal constitution, and the states have their own constitution. So we have Malaysia is a nation, it's a country, and in Malaysia we have 14 states. So I think it's different from Indonesia. You have your province, so many provinces, because I have quite number of students from Indonesia undergoing pursuing their PhD programs, PhD program, and some of them are lecturers in Indonesia. Okay. And its administration is distributed to federal. This is in the context of Malaysia. I repeat, yeah, administration is distributed to federal. That this is whereby we have the Ministry of Education, Ministry of High Learning, Ministry of custom, for example, ministry, quite number of ministries. There are 22 ministries in Malaysia and also federal agencies. We do have also at the state level, state government and also and agencies. Our constitutions and other laws are decided by the parliament at the federal level, and at the state level we have the state assembly, Dewan Undangan Negeri. So in your case, for example, the nation, I think the capital city in Jakarta, I think most of the ministries are located over there, and you have quite number of provinces, isn't it? Yeah, so that will identify the administration of the government, whether at the higher level is federal level and the lower level at the state level. So we have the parliament at the federal level, we have the state assembly at the state level. Okay, next, here is sort of example of the Ministry of Domestic Trade, Cooperatives and Consumerism. So this is the ministry who is responsible in trading. So we also have Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, something to do with the technology part. I just give you some of the examples. Okay, in the government, usually we have the separation of powers. We have the separation of powers, and the country usually is headed by Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Okay, and under Yang di-Pertuan Agong, we have the different three authorities: executive, legislative, and judicial authority. And for your information, for example, we have our prime minister and cabinet. So these people are the executive who implement all the administration part. They are implementer. Okay, they are implementer. And then under the Prime Minister and Cabinet, we have the government and ministries. The government ministries, that's what I mentioned to you just now. We have several ministries. Like for example, in your country, you have Ministry of Education. So that is actually under the executive authority. I hope you can understand that, yeah? Okay, next we have the legislative authority. This is whereby sort of the regulators, they set up the regulation in which usually it is headed by the parliament. In the parliament, we have Senate and also House of Representative. House of Parliament and also House of Representative. The Wakil Rakyat, Wakil Rakyat, House of Representative, and also the other one is Dewan Negara. Negara means all those people in the Senate meeting. This is what we call the different types of authority. Legislative authority. When we mention about legislative, it's all about the regulation, about the legislation. And the other one is judicial authority. This is very independent. Something like a kehakiman, about the kehakiman. Okay, we have the mahkamah. I'm not very sure what is your term you use in your country. But I think when I mention kehakiman, I guess all of you can understand that. The judge, the chief judge. Kita ada ketua hakim. Ketua hakim, Nadia, Diva, you also have kehakiman, isn't it? Are you using the same term? The same term?
Pardon, Prof?
Kehakiman. Are you using the same term? Judge.
Yes, Prof.
Okay, the same thing. Yeah, I hope you can understand that term. Sorry, I need to ask you because sometimes we are, even though we are in the Nusantara, but sometimes the terms quite different. But in others might be the same. So it much more understandable. All right. So why we need to have the separation of powers? Okay, the argument is that we need to have the check and balance. We have the legislative, we have the executive, who as the implementer. We have the legislative on the regulation part. We have the judiciary on the judgment, for example. It's a very independent. So otherwise, we cannot sue our prime minister, for example, isn't it? If they are doing something wrong, if any wrongdoings happen, isn't it? So that's why we need to have the separation of powers. I hope you can understand that. Okay, so this is kind of summary. Okay, for the executive, legislative, and also judiciary. Okay, so to understand better, okay, for legislative, okay, you can see the arrow here, power, and then it's point to the legislative, power to veto laws, power to impeach, can override vetoes and with votes. That's why we have the voting. Okay, and next, as for the judiciary, you can see the arrow point to here, point to judiciary, power to appoint judge, and power to issue pardons. And for the executive, they can decide executive action unconstitutional. Okay, so why all these they are sometimes are interrelated. For example, for the legislative, okay, it approves appointment of federal judge. And for judiciary, for legislative, they can declare laws unconstitutional. Unconstitutional. Okay, judiciary approve appointments of federal judge. So just follow the arrow. Yeah. All right, and then we want to see the differences. What are the differences between public sector and also private sector? What make them different? Okay, there are several bases to differentiate all these. Okay, there are three bases. There are three bases to differentiate between public and also private sector. Okay, in terms of financing, the first part and the first basis in terms of financing. As for the public sector, its main source of financing it's on the taxation and charges. Okay, cukai. What do you call in your country? Yeah, taxation. Is it the same thing for cukai? In Malaysia, we call it as cukai. I cannot see your name. Yeah. Andi, can I see Andi here? Or Zakia or anyone? Regita Sasadila. Regita Sasadila is interesting name. Okay. Oh,
Yes,
did sorry, do they need to switch on their camera? Tak buka kamera ya, malu ya. Okay, I just wonder, my question is that, do you use term cukai in your country? Taxation, for taxation?
For taxation, we call it pajak, Prof.
Oh, pajak.
Yeah.
Okay, in Malaysia it's cukai. Yeah? All right. Okay, so the pajak, the cukai, the taxation basically is the main source of the country, main source of income. Because as for the company, they have their money, isn't it? From the profit, from the business, from the sales generated, isn't it? But as for the public sector, the main source of income or the main source of financing comes from the taxation. And also charges, for example, the saman, isn't it? The saman, the road saman, for example, the custom duty, for example. So this kind of main sources of financing in a country. The contributors do not receive direct or proportionate share of the benefits. So there's no kind of profit sharing or kind of the bottom line. The bottom line is that there is no profit figure for public sector. The other way around, as for private sector, the sources of financing of a private entity include the owner's contribution. They have shares, they have bank loans, they have issuance of bonds, and contributors of the finances normally will receive proportionate share of the benefits in terms of dividend. So if you can remember, you learn finance FM, the financial management subject, the finance paper. Okay, in a company, those who contribute capital to the company, they are known as shareholders. Okay, and then the shareholders at the end of the period, if the company earn profit, then in return, the shareholders will get dividend out of the share that they have been invested in the company. So that's what the meaning of the second point here. Yeah, contributors will receive some of the shares of the benefit in terms of dividend or earning per share, for example, or even the interest. Okay, the interest is basically, if according to the Islamic finance, it is haram because sort of riba. That's why we have the different application in Islamic finance, whereby we call it as profit sharing. Profit sharing. Okay, next item is legal environment. Okay, legal environment for the public sector, various laws and regulation. For example, I mentioned just now, we have the federal constitution. So federal constitution is our stringent control over public sector entities. So usually in the government, okay, in common, usually, ironically, every government, they have their regulation because basic that this is part of the controlling purpose. They cannot do anything that what they want to do. Cannot do anything. Boleh buat apa-apa sahaja. No, cannot do that. Okay, because it is subjected to the regulation. That's why it's a very important to know the regulation. This control out of the regulation, this control encompass all aspects of organization in terms of the structure, the staffing. Staffing, for example, what are the requirements to be the civil officer? Okay, and also accounting and recording. We have the Financial Accounting Act, for example. I believe in your country also you have the Tata Cara Kewangan. Tata Cara Kewangan. In Malaysia also it is named as Tata Cara Kewangan. We have the what we call the instructional treasury circulars. Treasury circulars. We have the instruction. Okay. And also Tata Cara Kewangan, what do we call that in circulars, instruction, and also the acts, the regulation. The name is quite different. And sometimes it is called act. Sometimes it is called instruction, treasury instruction. Sometimes it is known like circulars. And internal use, usually they use the term of guidelines. Guidelines of establishing entities, business entities in the government regulation. So this is sort of regulation to govern the entity in their practice, in their activities, or in their programs. Okay, human resource, we have the collection of revenue and spending. So all the whole activities in government, you must understand that when in the government, they don't have the sales and they don't have the sales, the purchases and sales transaction. Instead, they are having the activities and programs. So like this program, that's why this is this program as well, International Program of Accounting. So it is non-program. It's sort of the same thing here. Okay, in government, we don't have the sales and purchases transaction. Instead, we have different typical programs in the government. Okay, like your program today. Okay. Because it is talking about the public sector, a non-profit organization. Okay, private sector organization, they have a kind regulation subjected to the Companies Act. In Malaysia, we have the Security Commission, but I believe in your country also you have. I don't remember their names. But you have your Commission Act as well. For the companies, and several other laws, a law of contract and also labor law. That one in terms of the legal. In terms of goods and services, for the public sector, there we have the public goods cannot exclude its consumer. The concern is much more on the for the citizen, for the public citizen, not for the customer, because the private sector, they take care of their customer. Goods and services are provided to those who pay. So who pay? Those who pay for the goods or services rendered are known as their customers. So they take care of their customers. But public sector, they take care of the whole public citizen, for the citizen, the all citizen, a wide range of citizens. Okay. The right to consume, they have, in fact, the citizens, they have right to consume public goods. Okay, but however, even though the government, they have to entertain the best service to the citizens, but they have also have limited constraint. It depends on their ability to supply, maybe limited due to the capacity constraints. The fact that during today's pandemic, what should I say? Not pandemic, but nowadays it is known as endemic. That is the post-COVID-19. Okay, most of the country throughout the world are affected due to this COVID-19 endemic. So again, the capacity of the government is is subject to their capacity. Is now comes to the time of limitation of the government to provide the best service for the citizens. All right. Public goods and services are either consumed or sometimes is charged and sometimes is free. So you cannot blame the government if the government charge you something, because if there is no revenue at all for the government, okay, it's very hard to organize, to provide the best service. It's nothing wrong. So you cannot claim as the educated people, you are graduating student, inshallah, you will get your bachelor's degree, you are very educated, you can't ever blame. Tak boleh you blame the government because they ask you to pay. Because the government also, they have their constraint, their limitation. Whatever their policy is subject to their capacity to finance for each of the activities. For example, I give you example. For scholarship, the government, it is not affordable. Tidak mampu untuk mengusahakan every student go to the overseas pursuing their master's program, isn't it? So that is the what we call the that's why the government, they are being selective, very selective to choose only the best student will be sent to the to abroad pursuing their masters or their postgraduate program or even the PhD, the Doctor of Philosophy programs, because of the constraint. Okay. All right. Next, on the governance part. Okay, what is governance? So I'm not very sure whether, but I believe you have heard the term of corporate governance. Corporate governance. I believe you have heard the term corporate governance, because as for the accounting professional people, the corporate governance also is very crucial. It's part of the essential papers to be taken for each of the accounting graduates. Accounting people, they must well versed with the term of corporate governance. Okay, why governance? As sometimes, if let's in my university, sometimes they combine ethics and corporate governance. So in the governance people, there are elements of ethics as well. So that's why governance is very important. So we don't want to produce our accountants without these ethical manners. And we want to make sure, I believe UMY also wants to produce ethical accountants. Yeah, that's why ethics and governance cannot be separated. To be ethical, we must have effective governance. Yeah, to have an effective governance, we need to have ethical graduates. Sorry. Okay, just give me a few minutes. Uh, I think Deepa, shall we have the break for a while? Say 2 minutes break because it's already 40 minutes. Ni break for a while, perhaps 2 minutes. Okay.
Is it okay, Prof?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. I'll see you in 2 minutes time. Okay. Don't go anywhere, students. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Okay. Stay tuned. You can have your coffee or whatnot. Just for the break, refresh your mind. But stay tuned. Yeah. Please stay tuned. We are not finished yet. Okay. Boleh ya? MC. Yeah. 2 minutes.
Yes, it's okay, Prof.
Okay, Diva. Do you think they are ready?
Yes, Prof.
Yeah,
inshallah.
okay, all right. Shall we continue?
Sure. Or sure, Prof.
Okay. Hmm. Okay, inshallah, we will continue the third part of this today's lecture, inshallah. I should stop at what time, Deepa? Oh my God. 9 to 11, is it? Or 10:30? 10:30, isn't it? A 1.5 lecture, and then 30 minutes for Q&A, if any, or any kind of discussion that we would like to discuss lah. Betul ya, Deepa?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. So 9:30, insyaAllah, I will start my lecture. And then we have another 30 minutes so that anything that you would like to share with me, it's not just a lecture, it's very bosankan like that. So we need to have a two-way communication, two-way interaction so that we can have a fruitful discussion, insyaAllah. All right. The third part is on the governance, the importance of governance and structure of government. Okay. What is national governance? Okay. Governance is the process and institution by which authority is the country is exercised. So the authority is there. The authority, how to exercise the authority. And then next, how to authorize the authority? How to exercise the authority? It is through the formulation of public policies, the policy implementation and monitoring. Okay, so that's why the policy is very important. Okay, so when we have policy, then only we can implement the policy, and the implementation should be monitored accordingly. Okay, that's why good governance in the public sector entails efficient and effective organizational performance. So why we need to have this efficient and effective performance? Okay, you must try to understand this and differentiate what is the difference between efficient and effective. Usually when you answer in the exam, I believe when you write down the word of efficient, you will put together with effective. You will suggest it should be effective to ensure effective and efficient organization, for example. To make sure efficient and effective implementation of the programs, for example. So it must go, it not really must, but usually it will be written together. Both are written together. So what makes them different basically? So let me share with you. Okay, efficient is something like when you do something, it's in a very cost effective and also cost saving. You have the cost saving and also very timely. That what we call efficient. Berkesan. Cekap. Maksudnya, for example, you can see your friend. Your friend. She study a very short period of time, but she can score. That's what we call efficient. The other friend, dia study sampai apa very long hours, but still they cannot score. So maybe something wrong. The efficiency is the questionable. Okay. Uh, I mean, what I'm trying to say here, don't look at that's not very good example, but I think regardless how long you study, end of the result, people will only want to know what is your result, isn't it? But the efficiency too is very important because it's different. If let's say, I give you another example. If let's say you only have 100 ringgit, but you can get so many stuff, you can get so many barang-barang, you can get so many food, you can get so much, you can get what do we call that, lots of groceries. Kan ada boleh beli sayur, ikan, buah and whatnot. Okay, that's what we call efficient. Okay, and a person B, okay, tadi person A and person B, the same amount of money, 100 ringgit, but you can buy only a few things because you are very concerned on the brand, okay, on the brand that you nak pergi grocery yang mahal-mahal lah, kan? That's what we call not efficient lah sebab duit yang sama tapi you dapat barang yang sikit. But again, it depends on your, it's very subjective, yeah. It depends on your preference because some people they don't mind to spend more, kan? But another people, perhaps others, they very concerned on the saving. Kenapa you bayar mahal? You can get the same clothes but not very branded. Contoh you nak yang beli apa tu sweater kan, nak brand Gap. Kalau nak minum kopi, nak minum Starbucks, you don't want the local coffee. So it depends on your preference. But the concern here is about the efficient. By having $100, for example, sebab saya nak pakai duit ni kan, saya tak pandai duit Indonesia ada banyak zero kan, juta rupiah, juta kan, banyak kan, ribu-ribuan kan, tapi di Malaysia bukan, very sikit, very little money kan. Okay, kita gunalah dollar kan. You can buy a cup of coffee of Starbucks for when I study in the UK, £4, £4 for example. Tapi kat Malaysia ni, kita ambil contoh kat mana dekat Malaysia ke? Dekat Malaysia contohnya ringgit, about RM10 for example. Tapi local coffee, a cup of coffee is only cost RM3. Dia macam nampak tak efficient lah kan? Tapi depends on your expectation and also your preference. Okay, itu maksud efficient. Effective maksudnya whatever you want to do, you can still achieve your objective. What is your purpose, your intention, mencapai. Effective. Tapi you mencapai dapat sikit. You dapat beli barang, yes, you beli barang. You can get all the stuff that you want, but only small amount. Kan, only small quantity of barang. Tak dapat beli banyak. So again, effective is easy to achieve. Effective is easy to achieve. Okay, kita boleh habiskan this lecture within 2 hours. That's what effective. As long as I have given the lecture, it is effective because I already achieved the objective of the program. Okay, but whether it is efficient or not, the program of IPACC, the efficient is sama ada students really understand what I'm trying to say, what is my lecture all about. That's what we call efficient. Okay, mencapai objektif dalam masa yang ditetapkan within the stipulated time, within 2 hours. So the efficiency can be measured in terms of masa, in terms of economical, in terms of implication, financial implication. So there are various ways to measure the efficiency and also effectiveness. But my point is that I hope by right, you should understand what is the difference between efficient and effective. Effective is easier to achieve as compared to efficient. Kita boleh mencapai objektif, but whether it's cekap or not, whether efficient or not is different story. That's why efficient is quite difficult to achieve lah. Nak dapat to be efficient is quite difficult as compared to be effective. To be effective is much more easier as compared to be efficient. Okay, I hope you can understand that. Okay, in terms of efficiency and effectiveness, both these can be achieved in terms of the formulation, implementation, and also enforcement of policies and regulation, as well as in managing resources. Okay, poor governance also can lead. That's why governance is very important, because poor governance can lead to economic downturns and inflation. Okay, any bribes, for example, bribes cases among the leaders and the national leaders, that will lead to poor economic decisions made by the government. Okay, all right. Next, this is very important. When we talk about governance, usually it's all about the accountability and stewardship in the public sector. It's a very serious matter. Okay, so I don't want to name, this is a very serious, quite, what do we call it? Quite serious matter to discuss. But in general, I would prefer to give my lecture in general. So as graduate students, you are the graduate student, you are accounting, inshallah, you'll be future bachelor's degree in accounting from UMY. I believe the aspiration of the university, they want to produce the accountable accountant, the accountable accountant. So why accountability, sort of the sound is quite similar with accounting. When we talk about accounting, it is also part of accountability. It is interesting, isn't it? Accountability. Okay, I give you example. As for Muslims, okay, we are held accountable to whatever things that we are done, whatever things that we are doing. Any wrongdoing, you should be held accountable. We will punish. We, and not only yourself, all of us here. Okay, all of us here, we are held accountable in the day of judgment. So that's what we call accountability. It's a very simple way to understand the term of accountability. Accountability means someone must take responsibility in carrying out the task and then inform the stakeholders of the process, progress, and outcome of that task. That's why accountability is important for the accountants. Okay. I would like to highlight here, accountability, there are two parts. The first part, you are held accountable. You have done your job. Okay. And the other part is on the reporting part. You are held accountable and you must inform what you have done to the higher authority or to your manager, for example, to your boss, for example. Yeah. So there are two parts. Sometimes if you are held accountable, you dah buat. You have done, you sudah melaksanakan. The implementation is there. But if you fail to report, that's why accounting and reporting is very important. Both are very important. Accounting and reporting are important because if you are held accountable, but you might not be seen accountable sebab you fail to report. You fail to have a good reporting. So don't get confused ya. Satu you dah buat, satu lagi you buat tapi you tak report. So people might not really have a clear understanding about the task that you have done. Sebab tu reporting is very important. You need to be held accountable, number one. Number two, you need to be seen accountable. How to be seen accountable? By having a good reporting, by having a comprehensive reporting, by having a timely reporting. Maksudnya, you nak timely reporting ialah menepati masa. Okay, kalau reporting you want to tell your job about a particular month for 30 days, make sure the timeline is there. The timeliness. Sebab tu, one of the accounting concept is timeliness. If you want to report the performance for a month, from a month, so you must report accordingly. So for example, if the performance reporting consists of 12 months, so you must make sure any activities done from the 1st January of the current year until 31st December should be reported accordingly. Okay, so my advice when we talk about accountability, you must remember, we must be held accountable melaksanakan the implementation. And number two, we must be seen accountable. Okay, you must be seen, we must be seen accountable by how? By a good reporting. By having a good reporting. Okay. All right. I hope you can understand. Accountability is very crucial. That's why when I give a lecture on the accountability, we include some elements of accountability. So I would say accountability, basically part of it is accounting. It cannot be separated. We want to be seen accountable. At the same time, we want to be held accountable. Held accountable maksudnya kita melaksanakan all the amanah, all the tanggungjawab given to us, all the responsibility given to us. Kan? Like yourself as student as well. This is amanah ya, jihad fisabilillah. Okay, so according to Islamic perspective as well, when we talk the Islamic accountability, one of the golongan, one of the people, the group of people is among the students. Kan, your accountability, your amanah is you must pursue your study. Kan, you must pursue and do your best. Try to get the best result. Otherwise, you, the students, when I was a student as well, yeah. the students will be questioned in the hereafter whether you really uphold the amanah given from Allah as a student, and also the amanah as a student from your parents. Then your parents send you to the university. Alhamdulillah, now you are siswaza. You are what do we call mahasiswa, kan? You must be held accountable. Kalau ada assignment, kena buat. If you are given your tugasan, you must do it. Otherwise, you will be questioned in the hereafter. So this is part of the Islamic accountability. I think if we don't mention Islamic as well, the other religions also have the same notion. Amanah, the trust. We must help the amanah. Okay. This way, accountability in the public sector also is very crucial. In the private sector as well. Accountability. So that's why ethics and corporate governance. When we mention about the governance just now, we talk about the ethics. So why we need this? So that we can help. We are held accountable. We are held accountable in the public sector. So the other words is about the stewardship. What is stewardship mean? Someone has been entrusted with a particular task or result. So you, as a student, for example, you already have your stewardship because your parents have entrusted with with your job as a student. Okay, sorry, my battery low. Okay, I can continue. The person who is responsible may be different than a person who is accountable. Okay. You are responsible as a student. Okay. A person who is accountable, for example, the lecturer. Okay, lecturer also they are held accountable to make sure the students they perform. Okay, the lecturer can just advise you, but you are the one who will identify whether you will get good result or not, isn't it? If you do not study very hard, if you don't submit your assignment, if you don't prepare yourself for the final exam, for example, you might not get a good score for your subject, or even can graduate with the flying colours. Tidak mendapat pointer yang cantik. So how to go to the exchange program? Kan? I believe those selected for the student exchange program, those who are perform very well in their study. Okay, this sort of the illustration of PSA. I give you example of stewardship and also accountability. All right, the department, this is kind of case lah. Case exposure is a real story lah. Okay, the Department of Environment under the Ministry of Water, Land and Natural Resources has provided a guide for investors on the processes they must undergo to obtain licenses and permits in order to start carrying out certain business activities. This is an example of stewardship and accountability, okay, where the government monitors and controls the activities that are allowed through the grants of licenses and permits. So they are entrusted to do so. They are entrusted to monitor and control all the process of obtaining licenses and permits. Okay, that's the stewardship entrusted to them, the task entrusted to them. Okay, and in the event of a problem such as soil erosion, flooding, the documentation that has been submitted by the companies will allow the government to answer why the activities were permitted. So this is what we call accountability. Maksudnya, you bertanggungjawab dengan apa yang you buat. Okay, if let's say, for example, you tak study very hard, so kesannya you tak dapat good result. So that's the kesan, the implication of your of your wrongdoings lah. You kena bertanggungjawab lah. Kan? You diberi amanah untuk study. That's the stewardship. You are entrusted to be a student. Okay, to be a mahasiswa. Okay. If you have you got a good result, so you are held accountable. So at the end, you get a good pointer, you graduate with the flying colours, insyaAllah. Yeah, I believe all students attending my lecture this morning, they are all good students. Yeah, insyaAllah, you will graduate with flying colours. Okay, next. I only have about 20 minutes before I end my lecture, yeah? Inshallah. All right. Next, we will talk about public finance. Basically, public finance is all money belong to public, or another name is public money. Okay, financial management for the public sector relies on many of the techniques that the private sector employs, with the absence of one significant factor, the profit element. So, like I mentioned in mentioned earlier on, okay, the absence of bottom line of profit figures that makes public sector different from others. Yeah. The absence maksudnya tiada bottom line of profit figure. The bottom line is not for profit. That's what we call public sector. Public finance is about fiscal institutions. That is, what is fiscal institution? Fiscal institution ni macam if you have the, just now Diva mentioned to me about the pajak kan, cukai kan, pajak. Okay, pajak tu is part of the fiscal, the lembaga ataupun badan who is responsible to manage the pajak. That's what we call fiscal institution. Yeah, fiscal institution. Because they responsible on the tax system. Yeah, fiscal institution is basically belong to the government. Those Central Bank of Indonesia, okay, fiscal institution. The central bank manage all the expenditure, isn't it? The Ministry of Finance, the fiscal institution as well, because they are the one who manage the budget procedures, kan? How much budget for this year do the government they get the bonus tahunan, kan, yearly bonus for that particular year, kan? The financial control, this is under the administration of central bank. Central bank, the debt issues and the administrative processes. Some are under the jurisdiction of central bank, and others might be under the administration of Ministry of Finance. Yeah, kewangan lah, Kementerian Kewangan. Different government structures have different public sector financial system. Even in the ministry, they can have their own budget. Okay. When we talk about the public finance, you must differentiate between the political cost and also social costs. Government must not only consider financial costs, but political and social costs also to be considered. Yang I mentioned just now previously about tax, those about the budget, and those are the financial costs. Meanwhile, okay, both political and also social costs should be taken into consideration because that will affect the economic decisions that can strengthen or weaken a nation's power. Examples are foreign currency reserves and trade barriers. So these sometimes the political factors might affect the economic decision of a country. Yeah, those country yang have the masalah keamanan, for example, usually they have the political issues, and that might actually affect their currency as well. You can see many countries. All right, social costs, also called externalities, and costs borne not by the individual or party who are carrying out the economic activities, but by those other than the original party. So example of social cost, it is environmental cost lah. We must take into consideration. That's why we have the ministry of who responsible, the ministry which responsible to the the forest and the environment. Because our natural resources comes from our natural resources, kan? So if we do not take care of our environment, so how we're going to maintain or develop our natural resources? Okay, for example, in Malaysia, the agricultural resources mostly come from some of them from paddy, isn't it? From the ni kan beras, beras. Our staple food. I think in Indonesia also we like to eat rice, kan? And also palm oil, kan, minyak kelapa sawit, kan? In Indonesia also, kan, you have all these things. So we must take care of the environmental cost. This is part of the social cost. Okay, next, the government structures of the world. Okay, This is in general. We have the parliament in other nation, in any nation in the world, throughout the world, it can be parliament democracy or presidential democracy. So I believe Malaysia is parliament democracy, and whereas in Indonesia, you are under the category of presidential democracy. Yeah. Okay. In parliamentary democracy, the voters who will identify the leaders of the nation. So Malaysia ada prime minister, but Indonesia you have the president, isn't it? Your president. So those people, the leaders, the national leader is they are selected. Okay, this president or the prime minister, he or is selected by the voters. Okay. The voters will identify the parliament and legislative branch, but under legislative we have the executive branch, that is the prime minister. But it's different in the country, for example in the US as well. The legislator, it is known as Congress. In Malaysia it is known as parliament. And in fact, legislative and president, the Congress and also president, they are at the same level. But in Malaysia, it's different. Okay, the prime minister is subjected to the parliament, subject to the parliament regulation. But in the presidential democracy, they are in the same line. So their authority, their power are the same as is in the Congress. Congress ni maksudnya the Dewan Congress tu lah, the legislature tu. So they have similar power. Tapi kalau di Malaysia it's different. Okay, parliament higher authority compared to the prime minister. Parliament ni those cabinets in the parliament. Yeah, sama juga Congress. Congress, those people in the Congress. And that's what we call legislature for Indonesia. Yeah, presidential democracy is similar to the US. Okay, all right. This is the last part of my lecture. Inshallah, I have about 15 minutes to go. I would like to share with you all about the public sector accounting. When we talk about public sector accounting, it is about the administration, the process of funding, administration of funding, and we want to know the rules of public accountants. Okay, inshallah, I will cover all these three parts. Yeah. Okay. First of all, we want to identify which organizations involved in the public sector in accounting in the context of Malaysia. But I believe similarly, you also have these similar bodies in your country involving directly in public sector accounting. Okay, for example, the first organization is Accountant General. Okay, we have the Accountant General, Accountant Negara. Perhaps yours is a national accountancy. Yeah. This organization prepares the accounts, the public account, the national account. Okay, the national account. And the next organization is Auditor General. Juru audit negara lah, Auditor General. Okay, this organization audits public sector organizations and report accordingly lah, yeah. And they have to report the audit. Usually they have to report the any improper conducts or wrongdoings in the financial matters. Okay, the third one, the third organization is MACC, or the full name is Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission. I believe in Indonesia also you have the Anti-Corruption Commission, this kind similar organization. Usually if I have students from Indonesia, I will ask them, kita pun nak tahu we want to know in the context of Indonesia, what are the similar organizations as compared to Malaysia. Okay, this Anti-Corruption Commission, it is responsible to investigate and prosecute any possible misconduct. Yeah, any possible misconduct. If they got any misconduct or wrongdoings cases reported, okay, dilaporkan, then they need to carry out necessary investigation. Okay. and then it should be judged. It should be judged accordingly. And the last organization which involved directly in public sector accounting, it is known as Public Accounts Committee. So Public Accounts Committee, it is responsible to examine the accounts and reports to Parliament. It's very important to have this report so that the Parliament, okay, this is, I would say, those people in the cabinets, basically they have the hearing in the Parliament. Okay, this day is whereby dia berdiskusi, okay, on the national matters. Okay. On the financial matters, the Public Accounts Committee will be responsible for the presentation on the financial matters of the national financial matters. Duit-duit kewangan negara lah, kewangan negara. Okay, flow of funds. Okay, this one I'm trying to share with you, about the flow of public funds in the context of Malaysian public sector. Okay, as I said, the main resources, the main income of Malaysian government, I think similar to your country as well. In any country, in fact, throughout the world, usually their main income comes from customs and also Inland Revenue Board, cukai. We have the lembaga, we have the LHSDN, lembaga hasil negara, basically percukaian lah, cukai, or in your country you call it as pajak, isn't it? The custom duty kan. So any import or export, we give income to the country. Income, import export tu kan memberi pendapatan kepada negara. Okay, some of the income to the country. Okay, and then RM is basically we give money to ringgit Malaysian, or Malaysian ringgit in English, give money to the Bank Negara Malaysia, the Central Bank of Malaysia. So your case also, I think, quite similar. You have the Central Bank of Indonesia. Okay, and then the Parliament will prepare budget. They gazette the budget. Gazette means they will discuss whether they agree or not, and from there they get the opinion for better improvement, for even distribution of the yang sama dan adil to all ministry. Kan? So Ministry of Finance, so the budget will be surrendered to the Ministry of Finance, and then to instruct the Bank Negara to do their next step lah. Then the money will be distributed either to the ministry, to the federal statutory bodies and agency, and also local authorities. That's how the process of flow of public fund in Malaysia. So I believe you also have this kind of flow of fund. Yeah. When I mention public fund, please do remember ini adalah duit kewangan negara. Okay, and then what are the responsibility of public sector accountants? Okay, I have about 10 minutes to go. Okay, insyaAllah near to the end of my session, my lecture. Okay, public sector accountants, public sector accounting is capable of designing systems. Okay, number one is capability to design systems with regards to the financial matters of government. And number two is capable of accounting practices which aim at achieving the 3 A's. When I mention 3 A's, this is sort of performance management in the public sector. So if the company, the bottom line is for profit figure, but for government, there's no kind of aim of the profit figure. The aim is to be efficient, to be effective, and to be economical. So that's why the performance management or measurement, or kita panggil key performance indicator or KPI for the government, dia punya target sasarannya bukan untuk untung. There's no kind of bottom line of profit figure as for the private, as for the company. But for the government, they are very concerned on the economy, efficiency and effectiveness, or the short term, it is known as 3 E's. Yeah, 3 E's. Public sector accounting should be capable of analysis and interpretation to indicate compliance with statutory and other requirements. The first the first emphasize, in order for them to be economic, to be efficient, and also to be effective, they have to comply with the statutory and other requirements. Okay, with the statutory requirements, performance measurement in terms of the achievement of objectives and for purpose of decision making. So there are three emphases in the government in order for them to carry out. Among the public sector accountants, they have to be comply with the requirements, the statutory requirements. Dia tertakluk kepada tata cara kewangan. So if I can see that, kepatuhan. Compliance is about kepatuhan. Number two, in terms of the objectives, they should identify what are the responsibility, and that will help them to make an optimal decision. Okay, public versus private sector accountant. So apa yang membezakan ya accountant di public sector, kerajaan di sektor awam, dan juga accountant di private sector. I think this will be my second slide. 5 minit boleh lah sebab ni quite lengthy juga to explain. Okay, I have about 7 minutes. Okay. For public sector accountant, they have the custodian and stewardship role of a nation's wealth as embodied government entities. Okay, the objective also is to design system and accounting aim to achieve 3 A's. And the end product of public sector accounting should be capable of analysis and interpretation. To indicate compliance, number 1 mesti kepatuhan. Number 2 to indicate performance measurement, whether they have achieved the objective or not. Number 3 for purpose of decision making. That's why accountant, they have to provide the necessary information so that optimal decision making can be made. Okay, can be made. How much should be given for the education sector? How much should be given for the health matters? It's perhaps due to the COVID-19 pandemic last time, the government, most of the government, I believe all of the government, they have to invest more for the education, for the health matters as compared to other sectors. Depends on the situation as well. First, depends on the situation, and number 2 depends on the capability, kemampuan kerajaan to invest in a particular matters. Okay, private sector. To provide financial information about the reporting entity that is useful to existing or potential investor, because as for the private sector, they need to attract the investors. That's why their reporting must be good to provide all the information on the profit figures, isn't it? And then for the bankers, dia lain. So I'm not going to explain very much or at lengthy on the private sector, because accountant for private sector when you take financial accounting papers. Yeah. Okay. Go back to the public sector. Who are the users of public sector accounting? And so public sector accounting information perhaps might be useful to citizens. Okay. So those are the users of the public sector accounting. Okay. Kenapa public sector nak tahu? Why they want to know about the public sector accounting? Because they want to know definitely whether the government, they have money or not, kan? Okay. Providers of resources to these public sector entities, the suppliers, isn't it? Elected representative of parliament and local authorities. This is for voting purpose. Analysts and members of the mass media. This is for reporting at the throughout worldwide reporting, and also public sector entities themselves. Yeah, and then Malaysia is using Malaysian Public Sector Accounting, MPSAS, MPSAS, Malaysian Public Sector Accounting Standard. And I know that because when I did I've been doing public sector accounting research, and I know that one of the agenda of the Indonesian public sector accounting as well, they are going to the equal accounting. So they use also the Indonesian public sector accounting standards, in which usually we adopt or we adapt some of them from the International Public Sector Accounting Standard, which issued by IFEC, International Federation of um, Committee. Kalau accounting standard issued by FRS, Financial Reporting Standard Board, kan? Tapi kalau accounting for public sector is issued by IFAC, it is non-international public sector accounting standard issued by IFAC, International Federation of Committee. So I hope you can differentiate that. Nama standard, accounting standard, dan satu lagi siapa yang issue the accounting standard. Okay. FRS is the Financial Reporting Standard, the name of the standard. But who issue the standard? Siapa yang mengeluarkan the standard? It refers to the FRS, Financial Reporting Standard Board. Kan? But for the government, for the public sector accounting, we have the Public Sector Accounting Standard. Who issue the Public Sector Accounting Standard? IFAC, International Federation of Committee. Yeah. Okay, to conclude, Alhamdulillah, I have about 4 minutes to conclude my lecture today. Okay, as a summary, government and public sector administration, we can see the purpose, the structure, the governance, administration, and also the roles of public sector accountants. All right. Okay, the purpose basically of the government is to provide the best public goods and services to their citizens so that they can live harmoniously. Yeah, and in terms of the structure, as in the context of Malaysian public sector, we have 2 levels of government. On the top is federal, and we have the below top, the below level government is state. And as for the federal government, we have the legislative. As for the state government, we have the executive. We have the state assembly. Yes, state assembly. And for the governance, please do remember about the accountability and the stewardship I mentioned to you just now. Stewardship is basically the task entrusted to us, and we are held accountable to do it. And the most important part, as the accounting student, we must be seen. Kita kena good at reporting so that we are seen accountable. Not just are held accountable, but we must be seen accountable as well. If you are held accountable, but you do not report, you tak bagi tahu, you do not inform your superior, your boss, your leaders, then you might not be seen. Anda mungkin dikatakan tidak perform, tidak buat kerja. So that's why it's important to be held accountable, and the other one to be seen accountable by having a good reporting. And then the next is about the public sector administration. So those involved in the public sector administration in the context of accounting, basically the Accountant General, Auditor General, Anti-Corruption Commission, and also we have the Public Accounts Committee, which is responsible to present in the Parliament. The Parliament is basically those members in the Parliament are the implementers, the executive level who responsible in managing the country. Menguruskanlah tata cara ataupun hal-hal negara. And as the public sector accountant, we have different objective and even different uses for the public sector accounting, for the report, for the public account report. We have different uses, and also we have different accounting standard as compared to the private sector. Okay, so for that reason, I conclude my presentation. We thank you so much, and I hope you have at least sort of knowledge on the public sector accounting practice. I know it's much more in the context of Malaysia, but I believe in general we have similar content of the public sector accounting. So with that, I end my presentation with thank you very much. So I open up to the Q&A session, Miss MC. I start my sharing, yeah?
Yes, Prof. Thank you for the amazing material. So we are turned into question and answer session. To everyone who have a question about the material, you can raise your hand and open your microphone, or you can directly write down your question in the chat box.
Okay. Yeah. Alright. Miss Diva ya? We will have the photo session, isn't it, after this?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. And then do they need to on their camera? I just wonder whether they can on their camera or not. So perhaps you can give them time as well to get them get ready so that they can get ready. Yeah.
Okay, everyone. I would like to remind you again to open your camera.
Kan lepas ni mungkin after this we can ask them to switch on the camera so that we can take picture together. It's very nice. Comel pun Hapsari. Okay, nice to meet you. Okay, insyaAllah. Okay, look forward if there's any student exchange program to use SIM. Kan, ada yang berjumpa jodoh pula di Malaysia ya. Okay, seorang je. Hapsari seorang je yang buka kamera. Yang lain, because we need to appreciate the organizer. They will take, they need to take lah, kena ambil gambar lah kan. Kenang-kenangan, it's a moment. So perhaps kita kena bagi masa. Diorang mungkin nak pakai tudung kan. Pakai hijab ni. Oh, another Dini. Thank you Dini for actually switching on the camera so that I can see your face kan. Comel pun. Siapa lagi? This handsome guy. Arif. I have student also named Arif. Muhammad Arif. Okay. Welcome to the session. So mungkin this time I would like to know each other lah kan. To know the participant, to know the students. That would be good lah kan. Tadi saya cakap sorang-sorang je, kesian saya. Okay, what about the rest? Muhammad Isham, where are you? Fitra. Okay. Bolehlah bersiap-siap. I'm okay. I'm okay Diva. We wait for them to switch on their camera. While waiting for the question. If they have any question, yeah. Nanti tak cantik lah ambil gambar tapi tak ambil gambar tapi no picture. So I would like to take your picture as well. Boleh tak? This is my request my special request, you know, to take picture with all of you. Ni pakai cantik-cantik ni sebab hari ni nak jumpa student from UMY. So I really appreciate that. Okay. Hasna Adinda, nama sedap. Ragita, Amanda, Maulana, Mahatma, Muhammad Hisham, Hana, Excel, Nurul Hadriani, Ananda Aina. Oh, Aina pun ada sini. Sini pun ada ramai. Aina is very common name in Malaysia as well. Okay, these all are Muslim Any non-Muslim student? Usually UMI Muslim student ya? Ke ada yang non-Muslim? Ada non-Muslim?
Mostly Muslim.
Oh, so this student, all of them are Muslim ya? Sebab saya, I need to acknowledge as well if there is any non-Muslim student. Okay. Anything, saya menunggu you all switch on the camera ya. Sebab I also look forward to get the picture, before we end our session. Okay, thank you Apsari and also Dini, okay, for switching on your camera. Look forward to see all of you again. I don't know in what subject or in Malaysia. If you come to Malaysia, if you come to USIM, okay, you can always remind me, recall that I had the discussion with you. Kan, I had the lecture with you all. Arif, blur camera Arif. Oh, Adinda, thank you very much. Tak nampak muka lah Adinda. Malu. Betul tak? Can you adjust your camera so that I can see your face? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you Adinda. Okay, pakai comel-comel. So next time, perhaps organizer you can remind the student, pakai comel-comel. Okay, the proper attire so that we can take picture. This is a moment. It's not easy This is a moment together. You basically what I can say is a very enjoyable moment in a live campus. Kan? Live campus. You're gonna miss this live campus. Believe me. Nanti kalau dah kerja tak ada masa. Kan? Okay. Boleh ke saya ambil gambar ni? Saya nak ambil gambar dekat laptop saya tapi macam tak cukup lagi lah. Can please anyone else? The rest, this is my request, yeah. To switch on the camera. Siapa lagi? Syam. Kalau you tak buka kamera, basically you can put your profile picture kan. Tu kalau jangan letak gambar kucing kan. Letak gambar you all. Put your profile picture. Macam tak nak ya. Dia malu lah. Macam mana ni dia. How to take picture without the face. Huh? Madam Fitri, Madam Fitri is the head of the international program ke?
Yes, Prof.
Fitri Wahyuni.
Yes.
Okay. She is the head of international program of accounting.
Yes, Prof.
Okay. Head of international program, eh? Is she a lecturer?
Yes, Prof.
Oh, okay. Teaching undergraduate program, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Alhamdulillah, we have another word. Alhamdulillah. Sorry. Fitra Waliul. Handsome pun. Malu dah dia tutup. Terus tutup. Tak apa, sekejap je. Few seconds je. I just want to take the picture. Oh, dekat rumah Your class nowadays online or physical, face to face?
Physical.
Physical. Oh, so since this is an online class, so you can stay at home lah, ya? Do you stay at home or hostel? Hostel ke at home? Ada asrama? Ada kolej kediaman ke?
For me, it's in living house. So.
In mana? In the university?
No. But near in the university.
You live in the hostel? Hostel for student?
Yes.
Okay, good. And the rest mungkin, Dini dekat rumah ke? Dini, are you at home or in the hostel or rental house? No, cannot hear you. Can you please unmute? Okay.
I'm in office. So,
In the campus?
yes.
In the library, no? In the library?
I'm in the office.
Office. Office, you mean, are you working? In the office, you mean in the university?
Yeah.
Oh, in the university. Okay. Do you stay at home? Do you stay in the hostel or rented house? You stay dekat rumah ke ada kediaman di universiti?
I'm stay in home because
Oh,
I'm
dekat.
from Jogja. Yeah.
Oh, from Jogja. Okay. Saya belum sampai Jogja lah. Saya sudah sampai Surabaya, pergi ke Malang, Bandung, baru 2. Jogja belum lagi. Quite number of dealings, ada beberapa urusan dengan Universiti UMY Jogja. Dr. siapa ni? Dr. Arini ke nama dia? UMY. Do you know Dr. Arni? Tak kenal Sebab ni UMY Jogja, if not mistaken. UMY. Tak kenal Dr. Arni? I'm not very sure which UMY. Because UMY, there are lots of campus kan? There are many campus, isn't it? UMY? Ada banyak kampus kan?
No, Prof. We just have one integrated campus in Jogja.
Oh, UMY Jogja. Okay, you are in the main campus in Jogja. Do you have any campus in other region? In other places?
No, OMY just in Jogja, Prof.
Oh, UMY in Jogja. Oh, I thought UMY you have any other campus in other places. Tak ada Tak ada, okay. What about the rest? Would you like to switch on your camera before we end our session? Kan nanti nak ambil gambar macam mana ni? So Dipa, macam mana Dipa? Do we need to wait for them? Semasa bersiap, pakailah tudung sekejap. Tak pakai tudung, pakai telekung je lah. Telekung apa tu? Your prayer, mukena panggil? Mukena
Mukena.
mukena. So when I did my PhD in the UK, so I went to haji daripada UK lah. So jumpa jugalah those jemaah from Indonesia kan. So masa buat umrah pun jumpa kan. 2000. So adalah. So even dekat Malaysia pun kan, there are quite number of Indonesian people here. So bolehlah pakai mukena. Kalau tak nak pakai tudung, nak ambil muka je, tak nampak. Kalau lelaki boleh pakai tu apa? Kopiah. Pakai songkok. Arif, songkok apa songkok? Songkok. Apa tu ni? Songkok apa? Arif?
Songkok.
Songkok sama songkok. Pakai songkok sama kan songkok? Okey. Pakai songkok Arif. Arif tak nak pakai songkok. Tu belum sikat rambut tu. Boleh pakai songkok. Tak susah. Regita,
Okey, baik.
please. Fitra dah tutup dah. Fitra ni malu. Amanda Arya. Maulana Rafsanjani. Mahatma. Muhammad Isyam. Nurul. Nama anak saya semua Nurul. Nurul Izzah, Nurul Insyirah, Nurul Ibtinan, Nurul Ifah. Nurul. Buka lah kamera. Malu banget ni. Hana Afifah. Muhammad Aksil. Muhammad apa ni? Aksil. Ananda. Hapsari. Macam mana nak panggil kawan-kawan? Please lah switch on the camera. Kesian saya. Handsome dah. Arif dah pakai songkok. Thank you Arif.
Most welcome.
Ya. Handsome kan? Macam raya dah. Belum puasa dah raya. Aidilfitri. Okay. Boleh cakap dengan kawan-kawan. Buka kamera for a while. Are you in the same class?
No, Prof.
Oh, ya ke? So, I think this is all the invitation for the accounting student.
Yes, for
Tapi
all
yang
of-
datang sikit je, 19 orang. Tak apalah, asalkan ada buat program kan. But they can listen to the recorded audio, isn't it? Did you stop the recording? Or do you still record?
still record, Prof.
Oh, still recording? Ya Allah, ya Tuhanku. So much. Sebab there's no Q&A session. It's up to you basically because my lecture is already finished. I'm done with the lecture. So you can stop recording also, no problem. Because I'm afraid they might not be useful, isn't it? The useful one is basically the first 45 minutes. The rest right by now is just to know each other. But I don't know, they don't want to, they are very reluctant to switch on the camera. Comel je. Bukalah kamera, tak mandi pun tak apa. I cannot smell you. I cannot smell you. You also cannot smell me. I just want to see your face so that we can take the picture together. Ya? Tak ada juga. Ya ampun. Gimana ni? Macam mana? Siapa Diva? Usually how do you conduct the lecture ni, the invited lecture? Memang tak, diorang tak buka kamera So
Uh,
perhaps they are not ready.
Maybe they are shy, Prof.
Yeah, they are shy. Yeah, I understand that. So that's why I told just now, just to open the camera for a while. Tak apalah kan. So satu kejayaan lah ni kalau yang buka kamera ni. Kan, Arif buka, Dini, thank you very much, Hapsari, Adinda. So we look forward to have many more lah. Kan, siapa lagi nak buka? Ni Alex, Axel ke apa nak panggil nama ni? Axel ya? Axel. So macam mana nak ambil gambar dah? Saya screenshot.
Maybe if they are not open the camera, we can take a picture. Yes, like this, Prof.
Okay, shift command 4. Okay, I will take 1, 2. Kenapa tak keluar? Okay dah. Okay, sekejap.
Okay.
One more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so freestyle. Nak buat apa saya tak boleh ambil. Siapa boleh ambil ni?
Masih.
Sekejap. 1, 1, 2. Okay. Alright. Ada lagi nak ambil freestyle? Tadi apa Yang ni panggil apa? Mini love. Kan? You panggil apa ni?
A heart sign, Prof.
Ya, heart sign. Mini love. Kat sini panggil mini love. Mini love. Okay. Again, freestyle. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Alright. I think that's all from me. Diva, I pass back to you. I pass the floor to you. Thank you very much. And please apologize if if anything. Okay, kalau tu salah cakap. Okay. But I just want to share whatever related knowledge with all of the students. InsyaAllah, this is also part of my contribution to Islam and also to ummah, especially pada Muslim. InsyaAllah.
Okay, Prof. I will continue. Thanks to Professor Dr. Rosnia Masuki for the attractive material. Hopefully, it can help the audience to have a better understanding of public sector accounting. Now we are turning to the last agenda, which is closing. As the master of ceremony, I do apologize for any mistakes during this event. Finally, I say thank you. Thank you everyone for joining this event and see you in the next events. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you,
Salam.
Prof.
Okay, assalamualaikum. Okay, nice to see all of you. Bye. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you,
Thank you.
bro.
Hmm.
Thank you, Prof.